وبقول له يا سيد أنا رجعت على لبنان، أتمنى إنك ترجع كمان على لبنان.
قرار صادر من مجلس الجامعة تسمية حزب الله الإرهابي.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Naufal, and these are today's top stories. Lebanon celebrates Palm Sunday with people participating in mass all across the country. Lebanese Forces leader Samir Jaja renews his accusation that Hezbollah does not wish to hold presidential elections. And a wave of airstrikes kills at least 39 civilians in Raqqa, the main stronghold of Daesh in Syria. Good afternoon. On this Palm Sunday, Lebanon is celebrating today with people participating in mass across the country. Palm Sunday is seen as a celebration of the day that Jesus arrived to Jerusalem a week before his resurrection, known as Easter Sunday. Worshippers from Lebanon's Maronite Catholic, Protestants, and other communities that follow the Gregorian calendar held processions across Beirut, its suburbs, and around the country. While some held decorated candles, others held olive sprigs or palm fronds, representing the large palm branches with which people greeted Jesus as he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. This, of course, is according to the Holy Bible. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is set to arrive in Lebanon on an official visit during which he will tackle various Lebanese affairs. The election of a president will be among the key issues he is expected to address with Lebanese officials. He will emphasize the need for Parliament to convene and officials to assume their responsibilities to that end. Diplomatic sources in New York told the Future Daily that the situation in Lebanon will be present at the Security Council agenda as it reviews the implementation of Resolution 1701 and the presence of the peacekeeping force in the south. This will be the second visit for the UN chief to Lebanon and probably his last before the end of his term in December. Lebanese Forces leader Samir Jaja is renewing his accusations that Hezbollah do not wish to see presidential elections in Lebanon. He noted that 2 months after his endorsement of Change and Reform Bloc chief MP Michel Aoun's run for the presidency, the party has yet to make ways to elect him, even though it has consistently backed Aoun for the post. Hezbollah has announced earlier this year that it would boycott electoral sessions until it receives guarantees that Aoun will be elected president. Jaja, meanwhile, Aoun's long-standing rival, withdrew from the race in favor of the MP in a bid to end the deadlock over the presidency. Lebanon has been without a president since May 2014, when the term of Michel Sleiman ended without the election of a successor. Disputes between the rival March 8 and 14 camps over a candidate have thwarted the polls. A wave of airstrikes killed at least 39 civilians in Raqqa, the main stronghold of the Islamic State jihadist group also known as Daesh in Syria. At least 5 children, 7 women were among the dead in the de facto capital in the north of the war-ravaged country, according to the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. 5 members of Daesh's self-styled police force were also killed and 60 wounded, some critically, according to the Monitor, which relies on a network of sources on the ground. The raids come a day after 16 civilians were killed in strikes on the same city. Daesh seized Palmyra, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known as the Pearl of the Desert, just last May, and now has taken control over large swaths of Syria. Investigators in southern Russia are probing the causes of a Fly Dubai passenger jet crash that killed all 62 people on board as emergency workers at the site wrap up the salvage operation. The Boeing 737, which flew from Dubai to the southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, exploded into a fireball early on Saturday after missing the runway in bad weather, as it was reportedly making its second attempt to land after circling for several hours. Investigators confirmed that all 55 passengers and 7 crew members, including 9 different nationalities, with 45 coming from Russia, died instantly and launched a criminal probe into whether it was a pilot error, a technical fault, or poor weather to blame. The company said the Cypriot pilot and Spanish co-pilot each had nearly 6,000 hours of flying experience. The 5 other crew members were from Spain, Russia, the Seychelles, Colombia, and Kyrgyzstan. Coming up next, Pope Francis launches his own Instagram account to increase his presence on social media platforms. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. The Empire State Building in New York City turned off the lights for the 10th annual Earth Hour, a global lights out event designed to highlight the threat from climate change. More than 350 landmark buildings across the world, including the Eiffel Tower, the Sydney Opera House, as well as Taipei 101, also took part. This year's theme is a celebration of places we love, such as beaches, forests, reefs, snow-capped mountains, and rivers, which could be at risk from climate change. Organizers hope this year's Earth Hour can tap a new momentum in climate action following world leaders' Paris Agreement back in December. That agreement set a course for global carbon emissions reduction to a net zero by 2100, shifting from fossil fuels in favor of greener energy, such as solar and wind power. The Pope Francis, launched his own Instagram account to spread his message through imagery on the popular photo-sharing app and increase his presence on social media platforms. Founded in 2010, Instagram has around 400 million users now and shares photos and videos with a community of followers. Its chief executive officer, Kevin Systrom, greeted the Pope warmly and witnessed the event in Vatican City. Pope Francis greeted all members of the delegation before launching his new account. Speaking in an interview with Vatican Radio, the prefect of the Secretariat for Communications, Monsignor Dario Vigano, said the decision to open an Instagram account arose from the Pope himself, who strongly believes that a picture can tell 1,000 words. Monsignor Vigano said the aim of the initiative is to tell the story of this pontificate through images so that people are able to connect to the Pope through a more modern medium. U.S. President Barack Obama tried out his comedic chops with some Spanish in a video he made with Cuban humorist Panfilo ahead of his historic visit to Cuba. Obama has won praise from professional comedians for his comic timing, is due to arrive in Cuba today. He shot a segment from the Oval Office in which he pretends to have conversations with Panfilo in Cuba. The two sides of the call were then edited together in a video playing on the Havana U.S. Embassy's website.
Hello? Yes? Yes, the real White House.
The White House. La Casa Blanca real.
Yes?
Ay, madre. Ay, madre, no lo puedo creer, me salió la Casa Blanca real. ¿Usted pudiera mandarle un mensaje al presidente Obama? ¿Se lo puede dar?
This is President Obama.
Ah, usted es presidente Obama. Sí. Ay, estoy hablando con Obama. Pero Obama, the real Obama.
Yes, the real Obama. Who's this?
Yo soy Pánfilo de Cuba. My name is Pánfilo.
The real Panfilo from the TV show.
Sí, yes, de programa de televisión. Ay, me conoce.
No me digas. ¿Qué bola?
Pues te digo. ¿Qué bola? Óigame, qué bueno que nos viene a visitar, para que conozca Cuba, para que conozca a su gente.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. The American people and the Cuban people are friends.
Friend, amigo, claro que sí. Fíjate lo que te voy a decir. No vaya a venir muy cargado porque después que con ese equipaje, esa cantidad de equipaje se enreda en el aeropuerto y en la aduana y se demora en salir y usted viene por pocos días, Si le hace falta un carro para recogerlo en el aeropuerto, me lo dice.
Well, maybe you can pick me up at an Almendron.
¿Almendrón? Pero si Almendrón es lo que nos sobra a nosotros. Chacón, el vecino mío, tiene un Chevrolet 58. Aunque bueno, si usted prefiere un carro más moderno, lo buscamos al aeropuerto en un Moscovich. Deja que usted vea el Moscovich, Esa es nuestra versión de la bestia. Eso sí es una bestia.
Gracias, Panfilo. I think I'm all set for a ride.
Superheroes have long existed in a world of their own, but as two iconic caped heroes battle in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, both are brought crashing down to reality as the ramifications of their actions catch up with them. Batman vs. Superman, out in theaters on March 25th, also opens in Beirut this week with the climax of 2013's Man of Steel, in which Superman's battle with alien General Zod causes mass-scale destruction in Metropolis. In the city streets, Bruce Wayne, Batman's alter ego, sees his company building crumble and blames Superman for the deaths of civilians. This is the catalyst for the superhero clash. Take a look.
The world needs to know what happened and to know what he stands for. That kind of power is very dangerous. Let the record show that this committee holds him responsible.
I'm a big advocate of the consequence of these movies because I feel like without the consequence, they're slightly irresponsible in that they're just like, oh, it's like unconditional violence that just, yay, let's do that. And I just don't think that I think it's, in a lot of ways, not only is it better for the sort of moviegoer to see the consequences of the violence, it's also better for the movie because the movie becomes more real and feels more like you're connected to the reality of it. So,
what's your position on the Bat Vigilante in Gotham?
Daily Planet. Wait, do I own this one? Or is that the other guy?
Civil liberties are being trampled on in your city. Good people living in fear.
Don't believe everything you hear, son.
I've seen it, Mr. Wayne. He thinks he's above the law.
Some of the themes that that are at work in this story that are resonant to me are, like, in particular, have to do with fear. The way that we get when we get afraid, how we react, and sometimes that turns us into the worst version of ourselves. We get more scared. We want to go on the attack. We kind of rear up. We get our hackles up, and there's no place to go from there but to conflict. And that really, this is a movie about, in some ways, and going into the next movie, about a kind of multilateralism, right? The Justice League. It's like a group of people who have to work together in concert, rather than people isolated off in their own little bunkers.
And now you will fly to him, and you will battle him to the death. Black and blue. Fight night. The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. God versus man. Day versus night. Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham. Yeah, I mean, I think if you are looking for stuff like that in the movie, I think it's easy to find. My character is a classic xenophobe. He looks at Superman as an alien, of which Superman is. He's from this planet. And he comes down and everybody feels threatened. And I very explicitly try to kind of rile the public up to feel threatened by this creature from another place. I think if you look at some of the more kind of nasty political discourse in at least our country today, you see shades of that.
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
Fantastic, doesn't it? This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Lebanon celebrates Palm Sunday today with people participating in Mass all across the country. Lebanese forces leader Samir Jaja renews his accusation that Hezbollah does not wish to see presidential elections take place. And a wave of airstrikes killed at least 39 civilians in Raqqa, the main stronghold of Daesh in Syria. Those are your Sunday headlines live on Future Television. Have a great week ahead. From all of us here, have a good one.
بقول له يا سيد أنا رجعت على لبنان، أتمنى إنك ترجع كمان على لبنان.
قرار صادر من مجلس الجامعة تسمية حزب الله الإرهابي.